So I'm Rob Fuggetta. I'm founder and CEO of Zuberance. And Zuberance is a word-of-mouth marketing company that provides a platform that enables companies to leverage word-of-mouth and brand advocates to drive qualified leads and traffic and sales. Well, the bigger picture on this really is that there's a trend that has been taking place over the last few years, and that is that fundamentally consumers just don't trust marketers. Only about 18% of consumers trust advertising. But what people trust is their peers, their friends. And that trend has been accelerated by social media. So the big problem that we're addressing is, what do marketers do in an environment where people don't trust them? How do they convey their messages to their audiences in a way that's compelling and also credible? And the answer, we believe, is to turn your customers into marketers. They're already recommending you, and we make it easy for brands to do more of that at scale and with tracking. What we really enable companies to do is to turn their best customers, who we call brand advocates, into a marketing force for the brand. And so there are three things that our platform enables marketers to do at scale. And we always call these our three magic words: identify, mobilize, and track. And so the platform, on an automated basis, enables marketers to identify who their brand advocates are by name and email address or Twitter handle, to then mobilize them to spread positive word of mouth and help drive sales, and then track the results of that in real time, just like you can track any other online marketing program. So that's what the Zuberance platform does: identify your advocates, turn them into a marketing force for the brand, and then track the results in real time. Now, in terms of how a brand can get started with this, the first thing that they need to do is to identify their advocates. Find those customers who are genuinely enthusiastic about the brand or product. And the easiest way to do that is to ask them the ultimate question for customer loyalty, which simply is, on a scale of 0 to 10, how likely are you to recommend us to a friend? And those customers who answer 9 or 10, you can consider advocates. But you don't want to stop there. That's just the identification piece. Then you want to start to give them ways to recommend the brand or product through things like reviews, testimonials, the opportunity to answer prospects' questions or to share offers with their social networks. So it's really quite easy to get started, and the results are immediate and measurable, and they will drive sales. But you have to have a system to do this at scale, and really that's what Zuberance provides. Why can't you do this yourself? Well, you could, but number one, it's time consuming. Number two, you may not be able to do this at scale. Most programs like this in the past, brand ambassador programs like this, have really only involved a few hundred or maybe 1,000 or 2,000 brand ambassadors. Our customers are big brands like Chili's and TiVo and Adobe and Intuit, and they're doing this at scale, involving tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of brand advocates. And third, really, there hasn't been in the past a way to track the results of word-of-mouth marketing in a really measurable way. And because we provide a complete solution, we enable you to track the results of word-of-mouth marketing programs in a very, very precise way. So yeah, we make it easy for marketers with a solution that automates word of mouth at scale. I've been involved with word of mouth marketing programs since I was at Apple. So I worked at Apple as a consultant many years ago, and back then word of mouth marketing was a little bit like going village to village to try to evangelize people. And it was a slow process, and there wasn't a lot of scale and tracking around it. Today we're able, through our platform, to enable companies to identify and energize hundreds of thousands of brand advocates, and to do it quickly and to do it with tracking. So today, a word-of-mouth marketing program should be part, I think, of every marketer's marketing mix. And the ability to do it at scale and with tracking is what makes it really different today. That's number one. Number two is the reach that brand advocates have. So, we always say word-of-mouth marketing has been around since Eve said to Adam, here, try this apple. So it's always been there. What makes it really powerful today is that social media has massively amplified word of mouth. So today a recommendation doesn't just reach your immediate social network, it can reach hundreds to thousands or more of buyers on the social web. So those two things are fundamentally what's different about word of mouth marketing today. So the question really is, how has the consumer purchase decision process and the sales funnel changed? And fundamentally what's happened is that, in the old school marketing, the consumer decision process ended with purchase. And that was sort of the ultimate for the marketer. And even repurchase if you think about loyalty. But what McKinsey pointed out in the Harvard Business Review is that the consumer decision journey doesn't end with purchase or even repurchase. It really begins into this phase of advocacy, where a highly satisfied customer not only repurchases, but also recommends that brand or product to their social network. So what McKinsey said is you need to really think about the consumer journey as not ending with purchase, but really just beginning. And what all marketers need to do is look at that journey now and see how they can find among those consumers their advocates and start to engage and energize those advocates to be a marketing force for the brand. It's a very important way to think about the consumer journey and to continue that journey with the customer, not at the end of purchase, but on forward to advocacy. So one of the best examples of the way a brand is energizing its advocates is Chili's Bar and Grill. So, Chili's buys a lot of paid media. I don't think you could have watched the NFL playoffs without seeing a 15 or 30-second spot for Chili's. Now, Chili's has always known that they have, millions of enthusiastic guests, as they call them. But they had never really leveraged those guests to spread positive word of mouth about Chili's and act as a branding or marketing force for the company. So what they did is they started to identify their brand advocates by asking them the ultimate question for customer loyalty. How likely are you to recommend Chili's to a friend? Now those guests or customers who said 9 or 10, highly likely to recommend Chili's, were then given an opportunity to recommend Chili's by writing reviews, sharing testimonials, or even sharing offers with their social networks. And what we found is that as of today, Chili's has identified nearly 750,000 Chili's champions, and those advocates have created nearly 200,000 pieces of positive content and shared an equal amount of offers with their social network. So that's driving sales and traffic into Chili's. So they have really energized their advocates as a sustainable marketing channel for the brand. And the reach of those advocates rivals paid media. So that's an example of how a brand can really energize their advocates as an ongoing marketing channel or force for the brand.